Corey, welcome. We're so
Thank
excited
you.
to have you. Hustle Hughes podcast.
It's good to be here.
Appreciate you for making time.
And we both got our brown on.
I know, right? I was
hues.
trying to match.
Yeah.
It's the vibes. It's the vibes. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I feel like, when's the last time I've seen you? It's been a little minute, hasn't it?
Man, when is the last?
I think when we were filming Reels in Your House, that was almost a year ago, though.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, because I've been in my house about a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's probably about a year ago.
It's probably about a year ago, which it doesn't feel like that. I feel like because we're on social media, like I see you and I see like, you know, what you got going on.
I didn't see you for a while though.
I didn't. I definitely.
I was like, where is she at?
Listen, so many people. Words was giving me a hard time.
Yeah.
Kayla was like, "Girl, where are you?"
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess. It was a mess. I really had to like take a beat to figure out what it was that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you know, we had Justin on here the other day, and I was telling him how much you and him really changed the trajectory of my entrepreneurship journey.
Oh wow.
And Neo actually had no idea how I had like known about him.
Right.
And I told him that Spectacular had invited me on stage like at 11 o'clock at night.
Oh wow.
Out of nowhere. Mind you, I don't know him.
Wow.
He don't know me. And when I get in the room, it's like the circle of greatness. You know how all of them had their little rings? And Spec goes, "Hey, if you're invited to this room because I want you to tell everybody what your name is, what you do, and how you made your first $1 million." And I'm the only one on
Wow.
I had made $1 million. And so I froze because I was like, I don't want to perpetrate and just be sitting up here, but I also don't want to disrespect him and leave. Because, you know, when you leave stage, you can't, like, message him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you really want me up here. But because I had been hanging out with y'all, you know, I think the assumption was just, oh, she must.
Hey, man. You close.
Right?
Come on.
I thought it was really funny. So Neo is cracking up. He's like, yeah. So I was like, so I never actually got a chance to talk to you, but like that's how to be in proximity. So that was the first time I met him, and then I actually heard of him, and then I met him at Pinky's event.
Okay.
He was in my sesh.
Yeah.
When I got invited, which
That's
was
dope.
super dope.
Yeah.
And he said he's like, you get your podcast off the ground, you know, holla at me. And he was a man of his word, so I really appreciated that.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
So it's good because I know that you hang out with him.
Yeah,
and, you know, obviously to interview him, I did a lot more research than just like just checking out his Instagram.
Of course.
And I had no idea how incredible his story was. But I bring all that up to say I wouldn't have had a chance to interact with all of these people if it hadn't been for you and Tony the Closer and all these other people. Justin, who, you know, I wasn't, not to be like derogatory, but like I didn't have any connections.
Right.
Y'all exchanged your personal
That
numbers
Clubhouse,
with me.
man.
Clubhouse was crazy.
Clubhouse had it jumping. Me too. Same thing. Same thing was happening to me.
Really?
Like most people didn't know I ran support by colleges before Clubhouse because I wasn't like just saying it, you know, like
Really? I didn't know that.
I was like a behind the scenes CEO. Then I got on Clubhouse
I told Justin, I said, I thought you were one of the models.
Yeah. I mean, because we used to do our own photo shoots.
Yeah, you were in the photos.
So it's like, you know, I was just kind of doing that, but nobody really knew. But I think that Clubhouse, for everybody's like, what do you do? You know, what's your name? What do you do?
It's so hard to explain.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just kind of worked. And then Trishana was like, you need to start getting on live more. So I started going live. And then like, start getting introduced to all these people. So like, yeah, I mean, I think for everybody, we made some connections that we didn't have before. And honestly, for me, like some of my closest friends have come from there. And it's just so interesting how everything played out.
Yeah. Full circle moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's super interesting to see like just in like a few short years how everybody's taken that opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, you know, to be honest, I was totally thrown in head first. You know, just trying to do, you know, I think the biggest thing for me is like, I wanted to be a person who executed.
Yeah.
Like if I was going to have these connections and ask someone for advice, I wanted to execute. And I was really proud of myself because like in the American Sesh, I was talking about my podcast, but I hadn't recorded an episode yet. I had just figured out the name. I had just figured out the name like a few hours before.
Yeah.
And so I was talking big shit. And they gave me some ideas, right? Because of the people who were in the room.
Yeah.
And so when Neo agreed, I don't think he knew at the time I hadn't ever published an episode. So when he walks in the room and he sees like, you know, the camera set up, he's like, this is just you. And I was like, yeah. He's like, you set all this up from when I talked to you. And I was like, yeah. He's like, wow. I love the execution. And it took me back to a moment when I was working with you guys to help me get like my first ebook.
Yeah.
Right? And all of us were just kind of in grind mode at our respective levels. But it was like the people who just got it done grew,
Come on now.
flourished.
Gotta do it.
And it was like one of the first lessons of like, you cannot overthink in entrepreneurship. Sometimes, even when it doesn't make
100%.
sense, if you don't have all the answers, you have to just jump. And I didn't really understand that. And even as I was doing it, I think I just felt more peer pressure than anything, because Clubhouse was crazy. We were on there every single night.
Oh my God, all
2
day.
o'clock. Literally, you'd call me like, oh, now we're about to start a room. I was like, Mom, it's 11:50 at night. You're like, we're just going to do 1 hour. And it was never
1 hour. Never.
Ever.
I bought another phone because of Clubhouse.
Did you really?
Yeah, because my phone was always taken.
Oh my God.
I've literally bought another phone.
What? You would literally be like, oh, now I'm going to call you on my other line. And I'm like, wait, I got to get my iPad and my computer. I don't have 2 phones.
Well, let me call you on my other phone real quick.
Right? Yeah. So I think it's really, really incredible. And I think in this season of the podcast, for me, right? Like I thought I wanted to be an influencer. That didn't work. Then I thought I wanted to be a YouTuber. That didn't work. Right? Yeah. And now here I am like, okay, at the intersection of something I'm naturally interested in, talking. Right. You know, it's funny because even on Clubhouse, there was a little bit of like drama. Like there's a lot of big personalities. And I think even from then you're like, you introduced me one time and I was so embarrassed. You're like, this is my therapist, and I was like, and I was
my therapist, man.
Yeah, because we have like real conversations.
Yeah,
off the platform,
definitely.
You know what I mean? And so someone had gave me the idea like around Thanksgiving or October last year. They're like, you know, you like talking, like, why don't you do a podcast? But I also love visuals because, you know, the reels and stuff. So I was like, okay, this seems like something I would naturally do.
Perfect.
Yeah. So here we are. And I have never been so consistent at something so difficult for so long.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So even though like once we're on the couch and the cameras are on, it's great. But like scheduling, packing stuff up, moving, the learning curve, like I can't tell you how many times like I thought I had the perfect settings and then something's blurry and I don't see it until after, because it's literally just me. Yeah. It's the setup,
it's amazing, man. It's amazing.
Thank you.
A lot of people don't even make it this far. And a lot of people, you know, we always talk about a lot of people try to show up perfect instead of being present. And you
I'm one of those people.
Now you're just present.
And now I'm just
I'm leaning into it on the way.
I perfect it on the way.
That's it.
So it feels like a very different space. And I can, all the things that I think you were trying to teach me earlier are starting to settle in now, because the fear of perfection and immobility is not there.
100%.
But you know, something that I admired about you is like, I remember when you and I first talked about like your history of entrepreneurship, and you are not new to this. You have been hustling since before college. Yeah. Right?
It's been a minute.
So just for those who haven't had a chance to like hear your story, like I know you did like do-rags at one point and bow ties. Didn't you do ties at some point? Yeah, bow ties at a point. So like, you know, for people who don't know you super well, give them an understanding of like your background, your family, how you grew up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so my name is Corey Arvinger. I'm originally from Greensboro, North Carolina. And where I'm from, I generally realized that people did not progress. And when I say that, I don't mean that in a negative way or talk down, but people got comfortable in the space and they stayed there. I watched my mom raise 2 kids by herself. She, at the time, was teaching and then like working at a hotel, teaching, working at Cracker Barrel. Like she had a lot of jobs. And from that age, I realized I didn't like seeing her never get a break. And so coming up, I was like, man, I can help out somewhere, whether it was cleaning the house, whether it was whatever it was. So I started to hustle. So at first, when we were younger, living in one of my old neighborhoods, I used to sell ices. So we used to, we would freeze Kool-Aid in the styrofoam cups, selling for 25 cents for a small cup, 50 cents for a big cup. You know, Kool-Aid packet costs 10 cents and ice and water are basically
great profit.
Free. So the profit margins were amazing. So we did that. Then in high school, I started selling snacks. So I used to take this big green duffel bag that I had and fill it with just honey buns and oatmeal cream pies and Capri Suns.
That was lit, especially because Michelle Obama came and took all the snacks.
Yeah, she took all the good snacks out. So
we love her, I'm but like, damn. You know,
come on now. So, I mean, it just made an opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And the thing about me is when I see an opportunity to make some money, I'm going to jump on it. And then that led to college where I was throwing parties, selling do-rags. I sold bow ties. Yeah, like literally like.
Why do-rags of all things?
Because so designer do-rags were becoming a thing at the time.
That's right.
And so, you know, Fab was wearing them and all these celebrities. And so I had somebody that could make the cloth and cut the cloth. And so I would get them for like $6 each. And then I would sell them for like $40, you know, $20, $30, $40.
Damn.
So
that's awesome.
Profit was crazy.
Okay.
And I was doing that and I just realized that I'm just really an entrepreneur. Like I've worked jobs, obviously. I've worked for K Jewelers. I worked at Abercrombie in high school. I've had jobs, but I always realized that I not only excelled in my positions, but I just didn't like having to be somewhere at a certain time and being told what to do.
Yeah.
But when I was there to show up, I always showed up and I gave 100%.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, if I could take this and if I can make AT&T all this money, man, what could I do for myself? So I think that's kind of really what got me into the entrepreneurship journey, is just realizing how valuable I was to those companies, and then wondering how valuable could I be to something that I built myself.
Yeah, I love that. And what do you think is like, even from that young of age when you were starting like your side hustles, what's the mentality that you think you had, or maybe it was like a mindset that you had that allowed you to be risky and to just jump in and try a bunch of stuff?
Yeah. Well, the main thing was, and we talk about our why all the time, and a lot of people don't have a strong why. So it's easy for them to say, no, I don't want to do this, or give up. I just was tired of seeing my mom work so hard. Like, she doesn't know that sometimes I used to see her like crying. I used to see her like struggling, and we would have like maybe the lights go off or something, and it's like she was like, oh yeah, something's messed up, but like I'm smarter than that. I understand what's going on. So I mean, that initially is what started it, but then for me, I'm not afraid to make myself look bad or to fail in public, because I'm all about failing forward. So I've done everything from karate to dance to act. Yeah, I've done literally everything. I've tapped.
What?
I've done hip hop. Yeah.
No way.
I've been acting. I sung in the choirs. Like, I've done everything.
You're a DJ?
Yeah, fake DJ. I was on a jump rope team in 5th grade.
Stop
I played the recorder. So like, I'm just somebody like, I'm gonna try anything once, and I'm gonna see if I like it and enjoy it. And if I do, cool. And if not, cool. It was an experience, and I can say, I tried it, I did it, not something for me, or something for me, and then continue to go from there. So yeah, even one year in middle school, I played soccer. It was football season. I wasn't liking how our season was going. I quit and played soccer. Never had played soccer before. My senior year in high school, I played baseball. Never played baseball before.
That's crazy.
So I want to try it.
Did you something that I noticed when I started being really serious about being successful is that you kind of start to see a split between where you're at and the people who you used to hang out with, and like your interests, the way you spend your time is different. And you, at least for me, I really wanted to hold on to those relationships. Yeah. But just over time, like our habits and our focuses were just different. 100%. Did you experience that at all?
Yeah, to a certain extent. So I say I always have groups of friends. So I kind of label my friends. So I have my childhood friends, which are all still my friends today. And most of them work corporate jobs. One works for Bank of America, one, corporate jobs, which is cool. And nothing's ever changed with them, because you know me when I had nothing. So it's like, I'm not going to change as your friend. And you haven't, and I think the childhood friendships, like, are truly the essence of who you are, versus your friends you get in high school or college are usually bonds off of common interests and where you guys spend your time. Yeah. Or if you play sports and they play sports, those kind of things. And so, then I do have what I consider like my high school friends, people that I met in high school who I'm still cool with. We talk here and there, but not as close. I got my college friends, my roommates, and a lot of them have made it past just being a college friend, but you met them in college, and you went through a lot of experiences for the first time with them as well. Yeah. Then I have like what I call my entrepreneur friends, which is people who I may not hang out or party with, but I might just talk business or go to conferences or, do stuff like this. Then I have like what I consider my close circle, that is like people I met just through random walks of life. So I got one of my people, Elena, she used to work for us, support by colleges, and that's like one of my best friends. And she was an employee, but she was so cool with my sister, then got cool with Priya, then they all at my house. And so now we're just like, just friends. A big group of friends. So I do generally keep my circle pretty small. Like, I don't talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. I think I have a lot of acquaintances. Yeah. And I think people looking at you from social media could think like, man, your phone must be jumping. Man. You must always be, but we were actually just talking before we started filming this. You had just posted a reel about, that interesting part in your 20s and 30s where it's really just you and you. And you're really like, you have a lot of people who but it's just you kind of your partner in your zone, just trying to get it out the mud. Yeah. And that's where I am in my life currently. Like right now I am focused on how can I be the best Corey that I can be. Yeah. What does Corey like? What does he want? What does he enjoy doing? What does he want to do in his free time? What does he want his friends to look like? What does he want his life to look like? And I think that happens when so much change happens. You have to step back and say, wait, what am I doing right now? Like, we get caught up in, going through the motions of life and just, I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to hustle. I'm trying to do this and this. And then you kind of forget about self.
Yeah.
And so, I've been taking a step back and taking self-care days. I'll go to get a massage,
Come
or
on,
I'll go
self-care
and just
days.
like, yeah, man, playing basketball is like how I like, it's self-care for me. It's fun. I get to release some aggression. I get to have fun, laugh, joke. And so for now, what I've just been doing is just focusing on self, kind of figuring out who I am, refiguring out who I am, and it just applying that to my new life that I want to live. And it's been an eye-opening experience. You realize, who you want around, who you don't. I recently did a social media cleanse. Kind of went through a lot of my followers, and I was like, who don't I interact with? So I went to like the least interacted with. I'm like, yeah. I mean, like, I'm following you, but like, I don't have to be. And I probably like unfollow like maybe 200-300 people, which is a lot because I only follow like 700 people.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I want whatever I tune into, like, to be something that's going to help feed and elevate me in whatever process of life I'm in.
So being intentional.
Yeah, just being super intentional, like moving smart. Like, you don't got to work all day and, 24 hours a day, grind. If I can give myself like 4 to 5 good hours a day, that's like good enough for me. Then I take the rest of the time for myself.
Yeah. But I think something that's important for entrepreneurs to know, like who are watching this, is like it wasn't always this way.
Oh yeah, no,
right? Like
no
I
way.
feel like you've worked really hard to get to this point, but after you graduated and you started support Black colleges, like can you paint the picture of what your day-to-day looked like when you were first starting to build this?
Yeah. So it's actually funny. I don't know if you knew this, but I never graduated.
What? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I never graduated. So my sophomore year, I say kicked out of school, but it wasn't really like kicked out. Like I didn't have enough money to go, so I had to leave. We called it being purged. So I was like, man, I owe like $14,000 to the school. How am I going to get back? So I actually started this campaign called 4 for 14,000, and I went on YouTube, figured out how to make a website. There was this company called Fundraiser, which was kind of like GoFundMe, and I got on there and I made a website and I started raising money. To make a very long story short, my story ended up getting picked up by MTV. I ended up getting interviewed by Sway Calloway, and they ended up MTV gave me $12,000, and Howard and a company called Salt gave me $12,000.
Nice.
And then I had raised $8,000 myself, so I ended up getting $32,000 and going back. And I had like a surprise message from Usher. It was really cool.
That's so cool.
Then the person who was in the financial aid building was like, okay, we're not going to let this happen to you again. Because I wasn't getting approved for like loans and grants. My mom made like too much, but also not enough. And then like my sister also had just went to college the year before because we were 1 year apart. So she got a lot of that grants and funding and stuff. And they was like, oh yeah, we already loaned them money. We ain't doing it for you too.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And so the person who had told me that this was not going to happen to me again ended up leaving the university. And they didn't honor that for the next year. And so I was going to owe $40,000. I was just like, I'm just going to start working.
Okay.
Because like, it doesn't make sense for me to like.
So you went straight into entrepreneurship at that point, or did you go get
No. So I was actually working a job while I was in school.
Okay.
I was throwing parties, so I was making a lot of money like that. But I started working at AT&T.
Okay.
And so, working 4 or 5 days a week, 6-7 hours a day. I was still on campus. Like some people didn't even know whether I was in school or not. I was just always around, going to the basketball game still.
Yeah.
Just being in the mix, and I learned a lot at AT&T. We got commission checks, so you might come in to get like a screen protector, or come in to get like, I don't know, a new case, and I would have you walking out with home security, DirecTV, upgrade, because I understood how to build connections with a customer. You come in and I'm asking questions about you, not about what you came in here. I know this is easy. So while I'm talking, I'm like, so I see you got a Atlanta Braves shirt on. Like, you like the Braves? Oh no, I like the Capitals. Oh, you like oh cool. Like, and I'm just like making conversation. And then I'm like, I'm looking at your account and like, you are paying way too much money. Let me see if I can help you out. And I used to just know how to build stuff and how to place things together where I could take out $5 here, but then add it here and all that. And so I'm really appreciative of that experience. And it's so funny because for me, everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
So I went from working at AT&T, and the reason why I left AT&T was because I wanted to move in the company with their marketing department. They told me, well, you have to be a manager first. You have to do all these things. My whole story was like, yo, Corey's the best marketer that we've seen. And I remember that funnel that they had us going through, it was impossible for me to actually move up. I knew it was.
That glass ceiling.
Yeah, 100%. And now it's crazy because now AT&T reaches out to me to do stuff with my company, and we do a lot of marketing together. Yeah. So I think everything comes full circle, and that happened for a reason. Yeah. And I needed that experience. And I needed to struggle. I needed to succeed. I needed to figure out what is it like to be a part of a company that's this big so that I can apply those things into my business?
Yeah. So you definitely think that like there's transferable skills for sure in your 9 to 5 that you can then
100%. And if it's not, you shouldn't be there. So like the way that I ran my staff, we had a point system and it was almost identical to the AT&T point system because I thought it was very fair.
Yeah.
Look, this offense garnishes this point and vice versa. And you can lose points after a certain amount of time. After 6 months, you'll start losing. Yeah, like stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, so many things from sales tactics to when you greet somebody, like that funnel that they put us through. I use that a lot in business today.
Okay, very cool. And then, so at what point did you decide to like, you know, move into support Black colleges full time?
Yeah, so after AT&T, I randomly got a job at this company called Airtime. And Airtime was a social media app. It was really before its time. If it would have came out now, it would have been popping. But it was just too early. It was like you could get on group chat. It was a video chat app that you can get on YouTube together. You can watch Netflix together, like, and especially right before COVID. Like,
I know
it would have been perfect.
I was
but
just thinking about that.
It had crashed before then. But I worked for them, and I worked for a guy named Sean Parker, who, if you ever seen the movie The Social Network, the Facebook movie, Justin Timberlake played his character. So I worked for him. It was crazy working for a billionaire, and I did marketing and social media for them. One day I randomly was like, I want to move to Atlanta. Very random. My roommates was moving here. I'm like, I'll move to Atlanta. I just was kind of just saying it. And then like a month later, I was living in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I actually got a job working with Tyler Perry. So I was still working at Airtime, but I kind of saw where it was going. So one day randomly, I was at the gathering spot sitting at the bar, and this lady was like, hey, can I get your email? Somebody was trying to get in contact with you from Tyler Perry Studios. And I'm just like, what? Like,
yeah, that's random.
Why would you be like, why me?
Yeah.
And at the time, I was running like a little social media marketing company of my own, where I was like basically doing automations for people. Like follow, comments, that kind of stuff. And I guess they caught wind.
Yeah.
And they liked it. So I ended up working for Tyler Perry. And after about 1.5 years of that, I was like, you know what? I want to pick up support Black colleges again. I just felt like I didn't mind the job. It was cool. Like I loved it. And I worked from home and I was getting paid good money, but they'd be like, hey, could you come here for this event? And I'd be like,
I can't
I just like, can you come in once a week for a meeting? I'd just be like, I just felt myself like it was something that I didn't like.
Like resistance.
Yeah. And it's like, I didn't want to be on somebody else's clock. And so, it was about to be homecoming season. I had a decent amount of inventory from support Black colleges. And I was like, I'm about to go on a homecoming tour and see what happens. So I quit Tyler Perry and went full time into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. How did you get your first? Okay, so let me take a step back. So I was telling someone else that like with hoodies, like Hustle and Hughes, I bought hoodies just so I could look branded in my photo shoots, to be honest. But then people were like interested. And it wasn't until I actually started considering doing hoodies that I was like, this is complicated and very expensive.
Yeah.
Right? So like walk us through how you actually got your first bit of inventory. Like how much did you purchase?
Yeah.
How much was it? Why did you go that route? Because I think a lot of people are listening think like, oh, hoodies and apparel is something easy to get started with.
It's not. And my story is actually very different from other people's. So when people ask me like what route to take, I'm like, I didn't take the normal route. So my cousin actually had a brand, and we were doing support by colleges together. So he like wasn't in college or anything. He was like making clothes full time. So he had a warehouse in Jersey where he was making this stuff and then just shipping it down to Atlanta. Okay. So
was he in Jersey?
Yeah, he was in Jersey. Okay. And so like he was doing all of that. I wasn't really doing all of that. I definitely found out about like companies like Alpha Broder where you can buy hoodies at wholesale price anywhere from like $4 to $15, $20. Then you screen print or heat press or whatever, and then you just package and ship.
I had no idea how many different types of material. Oh my gosh. Like I went to print this out and not this, what I'm wearing, but I didn't realize how many different types of hoodies there are, different types. And I was like, I don't know.
Weight, quality,
like cut, stretch, cut, length.
Pre-washed or not.
Oh my God.
And people just, whenever somebody says they want a clothing line, I'm like, no, you don't. You don't want a clothing line. I'm telling you. Because like digital products, you sell an ebook is out.
No overhead, no inventory,
nothing.
Lost because at that point, like, and I know you've had this experience where like you do everything right, your package is out and then it gets lost.
Oh my gosh!
Like, now it's still your problem.
Talk about that.
Ooh,
And
child.
there's been times where we ship something, UPS, it says delivered, and people are giving us chargebacks. Like once it left us, that was it for us.
Yeah.
And sometimes, unfortunately, we're not protected.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like so many different things that people don't realize, but I think that's just a part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Only way you learn about these things is once you go through them. And
you got
so
through the fire yourself.
We've definitely been through a lot of fires. And I mean, every day I'm putting out fires personally. Like I'm just doing whatever it takes for me to get past this and then say, okay, let me figure out how to not make this mistake again. Yeah. So I'm literally in the midst of those kind of things currently.
So yeah, like I absolutely I didn't realize how much effort it took, how much attention it took. So that makes me even more curious now of like when you were first getting started and you were with your cousin. So was your cousin making the Support Black Colleges for you because he already had like a setup and he was just letting you borrow inventory, or like walk us through the details?
Yeah, so we actually started it together. I was in college on campus my sophomore year, and he was in Jersey, and came up with the idea for homecoming. I wanted to make a shirt, and it kind of happened like so quick, like it wasn't even like a thing. We ended up stopped working together because we're just not compatible. We're just two totally different people, and the things we value and care about are just not the same. Yeah. And our communication styles are really different. Yeah. So it was something that I felt myself just being so stressed and strained over it. I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah. And so we stopped working together, and I just continued to run the company. Okay. Something that's really important is, licensing and trademarking, because my cousin went and got the license and trademark in 2018 of Support Black Colleges. When we started, myself was getting it popping, and he wasn't really doing anything for it. And I ended up having to spend like $50,000, $60,000 to make sure that my name was on the trademark as well, because it was also my company. Wow. And so now we both have 50-50 access to the trademark and license or whatever, which is fine because we can both do what we want with it. And obviously he's not doing much with it, and I'm doing everything with it. So yeah, it's one of those things where you just don't know until you know. And so, protection is extremely important when you have something that's growing. And you see a potential in something like a business, a mark, a logo, whatever it might be.
I had no idea like what trademarking exactly was. I was like, oh, if I buy the URL, then it's mine. No. Absolutely not.
Nah, not today's time.
No, so like even Hustle and Hughes, like I didn't realize that you have to file it, and it takes up to almost a year for an agent to be assigned to it, to look at it and make sure that you have the appropriate ownership. But then also you want to make sure that your LLC is in good standing. And it's like, honestly, the learning curve is so steep with entrepreneurship when you want to do it right, that it's got to be something that you like, that you really love, and it's got to be something that is tied to a bigger why, because for sure you're going to get your ass handed to you.
Oh, 100%.
Like you're going to get humbled, you're going to get embarrassed, you're going to fail for certain.
100%.
For certain. And it has to just be important enough for you that you keep moving forward.
Yeah, of course. And like there's beauty in failure.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to appreciate the times that you win. Like if you never ever lost, you wouldn't know what that felt like. 100%. So winning would be like, I'll just keep winning. Yeah. This is boring. Yeah. But when you lose and you know it's at stake, and you know that you spent your last $20 on this t-shirt and it has to work, oh yeah, that hits differently.
So tell me about one of the biggest losses that you guys experienced at Support Black Colleges.
So many.
Because a lot of people, myself included, see, oh man, you working with Chris Paul, and oh my God, Teyana Taylor, and oh my God, y'all in the shade room, and oh my God, NBA All-Star games, and all types. You guys were in video games and all types of stuff, But I think a lot of people don't realize like that's the highlight, right?
Yeah, of course. That's the beautiful stuff.
It's stressful as fuck.
And two, like everything you just named, most of that didn't come with financial benefit. So like for the video game, like we got a lot of people noticed us, and it was cool to see, but it's not like we saw like a huge selling spikes because of it. NBA All-Star, we were making the merch for some of the players and the store and stuff like that. Yeah. And we're getting like wholesale deals, but those margins are not great because it's wholesale. Yeah. And it just looks good for know, like, and trust for, the people. All of that stuff is just like reassuring that, yeah, we're a real company. We're doing this, especially through our mistakes. So I think a lot of people think, oh, y'all cool with Chris Paul. This must be easy. Well, like, it's not like he got stake in our company. Right. Like, he ain't posting every day. We're posting him, but it's not like he posting us every day. Yeah. And Chris Paul supports. Don't get it wrong.
He's great,
like, it's just like, he owes us none of that, And so I just think it's hard for people to understand that. When we talk about losses, I mean, I've had so many losses in business, but I would probably say, when we had our $1 million Black Friday, 2 years in a row,
Which is crazy because you'd think that that was the best win.
Yeah. A lot of people think that. And I tell people all the time when I tell this story is a lot of times we ask for $1 million in sales, or I want to make $1 million, but don't understand what $1 million worth of work looks like. And so the way what happens in retail is you sell the stuff and then you make the stuff and then you ship the stuff. If you don't have the capital up front, which we typically didn't. And so $1 million, just to break it down for you, $1 million worth of revenue is 33,000 items, 15,000 orders. So at the time, our team was like 7 people, and like 3 of those people didn't ship. You know what I'm saying? Customer service and stuff like that. And so what ended up happening was a week before Black Friday, our warehouse actually flooded. We lost I would say probably like $40,000, $50,000 worth of merchandise that we were going to use for Black Friday. And so how do you bounce back from that? That stuff was from like Pakistan.
Yeah.
You know, like they got to make it and then ship it and then go through customs and
that stuff sometimes takes months.
Yes. And then
I had no idea.
Yeah, and then you got to think this is also like COVID.
Yes, where everything was
so like now something that takes 2 months takes 6 months. So that happens. We're hype, you know. We hit $1 million, like it's a milestone. But then the next thing you know, we're like trying to ship orders, but oh wait, we just lost that $40,000 worth of orders. And then oh wait, so we need more black hoodies, but we don't have any material because we make our hoodies from scratch. So now we got to get material from our warehouse in Colombia. But because of COVID, it's taken 2-3 months. So now what happens is you start to put the money up to spend the money to get the stuff made, but then people start getting chargebacks. But I've already gave the money to have it made. So if you charge back, well, I'll lose your $50 order, your hoodie, and then I get charged $25 from Shopify for the chargeback. So now I lost $75 on a $50 order, but I've already spent the money to get the stuff made and brought to America.
Dang.
So imagine that times like 3,000 people.
Jeez.
You see what I'm saying? And
even at that time, remember that you guys would be spending a lot of time in the warehouse packing orders.
Yeah. Oh my God. And we were packing orders ourselves.
It'd be your sister. It'd be the whole family in there.
We were bringing in a lot of people. You know, we hired a lot of staff, which is also something that we did wrong was we hired like 30 people. So we had people in there and it was getting done, but then like a lot of people who didn't really know how to do it, sending out wrong orders. Yeah. So now do you keep that hoodie? Do they ship it back? Then you got to pay for the shipping. Oh man, it's like so many things happen. So this past year I was like, my goal is to make 300,000. I didn't even want to make it. I want to make 300,000 because I felt like that was attainable. And even this year, like it went decently well. We got most of our orders out, but then we had an issue of cash flow. So we had some stuff come up in our business that was unexpected that like we could not say no to and ignore. So I'm giving 50,000 here, 100,000 here. I'm like, but I need money to make this merchandise. And even if you make $300,000, you got to realize that's not all profit.
Yeah. Which I didn't realize, like, you know, what you make is not necessarily what you keep.
Yeah. See, it's the difference between gross and net.
Yeah.
The net is what you want, but the gross is what everybody talks about, but the net is what you really have.
Yeah.
And so, you know, 300,000 might really be 125,000. So with that 125,000, you have $100,000 you got to pay for something, 10,000 you got to pay here. Okay, you left with something, so I can start making this stuff. So now I'm like, well, how do I make more sales so that I can keep it going and then let it balance out eventually? Yeah. And so it's just so many things that people don't understand, but
you learned from it too. You were saying
100%. So now we have a 6-month plan where first we start with the old orders. So now like by the end of this month, middle of next month, we should have all orders out. And then it goes into, okay, what does production look like for the next 6 months? Okay, well, let's go ahead and pre-buy this stuff. When it's gone, it's gone. Boom. Let's do. And so now I have a plan so that it doesn't happen again. Yeah. And it's just it's a lot of trial and error too, because it sounds good, but then let's just say we buy a bunch of shorts, they don't sell well. Now I'm sitting on merchandise. So it's just a never ending. It's never ending when it comes to learning. Yeah. Unless you hire an expert that's really good at that kind of stuff. Yeah. And even then you still have to go through the trial so they can do reports on what they see. So we're in that process right now.
Got you. And I know it was really tough because I feel like the Black community, especially in entrepreneurship, we're not always forgiving of Black entrepreneurs 100%. When they make mistakes, like, you know, and that's for a reason. And some of those things are valid, right? Yeah. You know, but at the same time, it's very, I can imagine how it's disheartening, right?
Yeah, it's hard. And it's tough because I think sometimes people, like, let's just say you don't get your order, people think I just have stuff at the crib. I'm like, no, I don't even have the thing that just released. I've never seen it in person.
Yeah.
You know, like our last 4 or 5 things I have nothing of.
Yeah.
And two, what really makes me upset is like Travis Scott, Kanye. When you order something from them, it takes 9 to 10 weeks every time. Doesn't matter what you order.
Yeah.
And they have millions of dollars in full factories and companies behind them.
Yeah.
Right? Even like, I mean, and I like the way Telfar does it because you can secure your bag. So you pay for it and then 6 months later you get it.
Yeah.
It's like, so, you know, we say 3 to 4 weeks because that's the time we felt like we could do it in. And if we don't hit that mark, people were like going online and starting Facebook groups about us and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, we're trying, but you don't realize you doing this, us getting a chargeback actually like doesn't help the next person either. Because now we're losing more money, which means we have to like, it doesn't help. And so you look at Tesla, I bought a Tesla and in 2000, I bought, like I pre-ordered it like a year and a half ago. And it didn't come for a year. It's supposed to come 5 or 6 months later. It didn't come for a year. $100,000 car.
That's crazy.
But I'm not like on social media like $100,000. But people, $25 shirt, and they like, you're a scammer, you're this, and I'm like, yo, you think that I really got your shirt? I'm just holding it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part that like makes me more upset. Like, I get you spent your hard-earned money. If you want a refund, that's cool. No smoke. But it's like when you call us scammers and all this stuff, it kind of is disheartening because like if I wanted to just like be rich and make money, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Like
this is not a easy, fun. It's fun. I won't say it was not fun, but it's not just easy to like make $1 million doing like clothes or like I could get hired at Nike to be a marketing person for $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
And walk away with that money. Like
2
years of my business, I wasn't paid.
Yeah. It's
like, so I just think that people make up their own idea of what you are doing based off of how they personally feel. And it's not that it's not valid, but when you start to put stuff in the atmosphere, then other people be like, oh, me too. Be
like at the bandwagon.
And now it's like people who never even ordered was like saying, I remember we had this Facebook group that was about us that was like, I didn't get my order or whatever. And we were like looking up the names in there and like, or emails or numbers, and like half of those people never ordered from us. They just heard, or they were in there because somebody added them. I'm like, yeah, y'all are a part of the problem. But I understand. But it's just, I think that sometimes when you are a person of color, they just think, oh, it's a scammer. But if it's somebody that's not a person of color, or they're just having issues, like, and mind you, most of this was during COVID. Yeah. It's like, yo, you realize that like 6 people in our warehouse got COVID, so we had to shut down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like, people don't care though. They want their hoodie because if not, they won't make it through COVID without it. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a lot.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What was like the most gratifying moment in your career with Support Black Colleges?
There's so many of them that just make me happy. And you know, funny enough, it never deals with money. So I will say being in NBA 2K was like surreal because I play it all the time. Yeah. So to play a game like most of your life and then just be like, wow, this is my stuff. Yeah. And to see them like the white kids in the game wearing it and they have no clue what they're wearing. It's like the best feeling in the world. Yes. That was really cool.
Especially considering what your brand is about.
Yeah. I would be on the game like as my character and I'm like, oh man, your hoodie's fire. Like, where'd you get it from? We got it from the store. And they're talking about it and it's like, you just have no clue.
No clue.
Right? So that was really cool. I also will say NBA All-Star. So this was our third NBA All-Star. And it was crazy because I had a memory on Facebook one day that was like, it was my vision board from 1 year. And I looked at the vision board and every single thing on that vision board I accomplished.
Wow.
Every single thing. It was like 50K followers. It was like $1 million in sales. It was NBA All-Star. And what's crazy is I didn't necessarily operate in the capacity I thought I would because I thought I was going to work for the NBA and go to an NBA All-Star. But I worked for myself, and then they brought me on for me working for myself. And
so you got there, but the path was not as you expected.
It was not as I expected. And, you know, I remember I went to a basketball camp with Stephen A. Smith 1 year, and he said to the campers, he was like, most of y'all won't make it to the NBA. Maybe one of y'all, but probably not even that, which is true. Nobody made it from that camp to the NBA.
Yeah.
But one thing he said was, but you could still be a part of the NBA without playing. And so I always like kind of thought about that, but I never knew what that meant. So I used to apply for like internships and stuff and I never got them.
Yeah.
And so to get a call from the NBA 2 weeks before the Atlanta All-Star asking us to make merchandise for the players, I'm like, yo, we got to do it. This is our chance.
Yeah.
And ever since then, that was 3 years ago. Ever since then, we've been at every All-Star and been a part of it in our own capacity. And now to next year, working to do something way bigger with them and
That's
have
exciting.
a better relationship with the NBA.
Yeah, it's cool because both in the last episode we had Destiny from A House Called Hugh.
Oh yeah, I love her.
She was talking about.
She was a part of that process.
Yeah. And so I think it's amazing that, Support Black Colleges isn't just like a brand, but like even in like your everyday life, it did give an opportunity for her to grow and for her to be a part of something really amazing.
I love that for her too. Because she's great at what she does.
She's
amazing.
She's very talented.
She's amazing at what she does. And so to be able to call her and so I called her in and I called another young lady, Courtney Coppridge, who worked for Tyler Perry with me. She designed the patches. Destiny made the patches. Then we sewed the patches on and got it done like all within like a 48-hour span.
That's
so
crazy.
It literally took everybody. So, but that's what it's all about. My employees look like me.
Yeah.
We come from the same background.
Yeah.
And I like that because I understand who you are. Like, hey, I'm not feeling well. Can I stay home? Yeah, you can. I'm not going to pressure you. Just tomorrow when you come in, just get on your stuff. I told all ladies, it's that time. Stay home. Please don't come in here trying to fight through it. Just stay home. I would prefer that because I want you to be comfortable. And then when it's time for you to come back, I want you to be like, man, I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and go hard for you.
Yeah.
So, I almost manage people to a fault because I'm like too nice, which was kind of unbelievable because I could be very strict as well.
Very.
But I remember what it was like being that employee that was scared to ask for a day off. Like, dang, I can't even ask for a day off, like without feeling like I'm hurting your pockets or something. Like, especially when I was like one of the best salesperson at AT&T. If I asked off, they're like, bro, no, tomorrow's a big day. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like crap.
And all this that I've done for you doesn't mean nothing.
I asked to have off spring break, and they was acting like I asked like to quit or something. Like, yo, can I get a week off? I've been here every day for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, I never wanted my employees to feel like that. And so I created an environment almost that was probably too lax.
Yeah.
That, a lot of stuff probably fell through the cracks, but that's why I'm no longer in that position. See, I think everybody wants to be a CEO, but everybody's not meant to be a CEO. And a lot of people don't even know what being a CEO actually means. The task and the roles, if you read the definition, it's not just, I run this company. Like, you handle payroll, you handle this, you handle this, you handle this, scheduling this. And that's what I'm terrible at. I really am a CMO. I'm a marketer. So I'm really the chief marketing officer. I just own the business. So you can own a business, but not work in the business.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? The person who owns Delta is not working at Delta.
They're not at the counter. Like, let me
they're not doing that, right? like, I mean, you can look at anything. The guy Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos is not working at Amazon right now.
Yeah.
He owns it, but he's only making high level decisions, and then he going back to his yacht, So I just think a lot of times, especially with entrepreneurship, with people that look like us, I'm a CEO, but a CEO of a company that's not successful, you just running the company. Yeah, like it's not. We just glorify that name, but I wish we would really get away from that. I want to fire myself as a CEO, hire myself as the marketer, and then also just be the owner. That's my dream.
Yeah, I definitely think I was talking to somebody else about how it's really dangerous for you to think that you're the only one who can do the business in every aspect as good as you. Yeah. Right?
I struggle with that too.
It'll hinder your business. And it's hard when it's your baby and there's such a strong emotional attachment. You have blood, sweat, and tears, equity, you know what I mean, in this business, and it's hard. And so for entrepreneurs who are listening, who are established, like, you've got to get out of your own way too.
100%.
And just because you created the idea doesn't mean you're the one who's going to be there to scale it to 5, 6, 7, 8, multiple 8 figures, right? It may be that it's just you were there to develop it and to see it grow, and now somebody else needs to take it to the next level.
100%.
But there's always opportunity for you to use your expertise and to start another one, or to do, even the concept of like, I don't have to think about a business. I could buy a business.
Man, that's a whole other thing.
Blew my mind,
that's
right?
A whole other thing.
And I think that entrepreneurship, honestly, being a boss is, even at a 9 to 5, is overrated.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, right? Like, having employees, being responsible for people asking
don't want
questions.
that smoke, please.
No. There's a sound going around on Instagram. It's like, I think I girl boss too hard. Now I got a real job and people asking me all kinds of questions. And that's real, right? It looks sexy for a picture.
It looks sexy, boy. Ooh,
man,
why do we make entrepreneurship look so sexy? We got to chill out. It got to look a little ugly. We got to start making entrepreneurship look ugly, because when it's too sexy, we glorify and glamorize something that's not real.
Yeah.
Right. And it's cool for ownership. 100%. I'm with the ownership. I'm with owning your own stuff and being a boss. I'm with all of that.
Yeah.
But let's not make it like it's easy, because we're doing a disservice to someone who said, I'm about to quit my job and do what you do because it looks like this.
And they have no idea what they're walking into.
Oh, no idea. It'll smack you right in the face.
It's 100%. It's not just one time. It's over and over. And like, you know, how much can you be humbled and still move forward?
Man.
Which is why I think the why that you mentioned earlier is like so critical.
Yeah, like it has to be about more than money.
Yeah.
And like whenever I hear somebody say, bro, I'm about to start a clothing line, I'm trying to run it up, I'm like, no, stop. Why are you starting this clothing brand? Mm-hmm. And if it's just for money, no.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is a hobby, cool. But if you want to do this for life, like if this is your job, it got to be bigger than that. And even some people's whys that they think are strong is not that strong.
Yeah.
And you really realize that when you check on them in the year and like, hey, what happened to the brand? Bro, I had to. I'm like, yeah, bro, you wasn't really in it like you said you was. But hey, I applaud you for your efforts. Just
for trying.
Right? Because like most people don't try. Like I make up this stat all the time. I'll be like, 85% of businesses fail because they don't try. Right? Like it never got out of ideation. And so that's a stat I made up. But
I'm about to say,
if I don't say I make it up, it sounds real.
It sounds good.
But I always say I made it up because if somebody search it, they can be like, that's what. So yeah, I say 85% of businesses fail because they just never made that ideation.
Yeah.
And I think that's I look at even just the people around me. I'm like, you said you had a business. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, bro. Like, you know.
So would you say the biggest mistake is that entrepreneurs make?
The biggest mistake I think that entrepreneurs make.
Because you got lots of people who are always asking, oh, Corey, I want to do this. Corey, I want to do that. God. Right? But like, and you obviously get to see some of those people, like some of them are about it and they build it. And then some of them, majority of them, I'd imagine, don't come back or, you know. But so what do you think the disconnect is for most entrepreneurs who are trying to build?
I used to always say this. A lot of people are curious but not serious. And so you're like interested in what entrepreneurship looks like. And you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. But like, you're not serious though. Like, how bad do you really want this? Like, I've used my last monies that I had to make more shirts. I post 4 times a day on my social media for 3 years straight. No missed days. Like, I really want this bad and you will not outwork me. And most people are just curious about it, but not really serious. And it takes more than just financial. It takes time, effort. You lose sleep, you lose money, you lose friends, and you lose opportunities.
People think that like that's a joke. That's really,
no,
if
seriously.
You're really about your business and you're serious and not curious, like all of those things for sure are going to happen.
100%, because that's just a part of the game. And you never really truly understand what success feels like until you go through some of those things that are failures.
Yeah.
And so like, that's why I appreciate like everything that I get invited to, every podcast I'm asked to be on, every event. I'm so grateful because like, y'all have no idea what it took me to get here.
Yeah.
Like it was so much I went through that nobody saw and I didn't talk about. And it's like, man, somebody cared enough. Somebody thought I did a good enough job.
Yeah.
And I always want to please. I'm a people pleaser naturally.
Are you really?
Yeah, naturally. So like even like when we used to have our conversations, I'm like trying to make sure I don't do the wrong thing.
Oh
you know, like
that whole
I'm
loyalty thing.
I'm like, what do I do? Like, what am I supposed to do? And I naturally thrive in seeing other people happy. And so sometimes that comes at my own expense. And then sometimes I'm sacrificing things that, you know, I probably shouldn't for people. So even with my staff, I didn't want to fire a lot of them, but the business was failing at the time with having them. So I stopped taking the paycheck to make them happy. You know, like things like that. I've had to learn sometimes you got to separate that.
Yeah.
Which is not who I am as a person, but as a businessman, I have to be.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's one of the many lessons.
Yeah. I think something that was really eye-opening for me is like you were very concerned and committed to being loyal. You use that word a lot. And loyalty in business, like Beyonce said, I can be fair, but I can't always be kind and run my business. And that was one of the first chances I got to see up close and personal. Like when you really, you know, your why is rooted in like integrity and you want to do the right thing and you want to make an impact. But sometimes you got to make tough decisions, ethical decisions, right? You know, are fair. Like, hey, we don't have any more money to pay you and I'm giving you notice now
100%.
Instead of trying to like keep the peace and keep you for longer. And now I can't give you a 3-week notice because I kept you 3 weeks longer than I should have. And that's so hard. It's so hard when you care.
And you know, I was never the person to hire and fire, but I had to be a part of those conversations because I personally felt responsible. And, you know, I'm trying to explain to them, we made $1 million Black Friday. We did 300,000 in returns, and then we paid for this, and then this. Like, look at the numbers; it's all there. And so I'm like, I'm gonna work for free for these next 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's people that stayed, and there's people that left, and I didn't feel either way towards either person. I mean, if you stayed, I'm like, I rock with you. My friend Elena stayed way longer than she should have. Way longer than she should have. But it tells me what kind of person you are. So I'm indebted to you forever, even though you say, oh, you're not indebted. Yes, I am. Like, yes, I am. Anything you need, I got you. Because you showed me that when you didn't have to say you did. And that means more to me than anything. Like, I'm all about loyalty. I'm all about, like, I know what it feels like to be that person that got done dirty. You know what I'm saying? So I just try to make it, you know, how do I want people to treat me, my family, my future kids? You know, and so I just try to live my life like that.
What would you say, with everything that you've been through, what's the greatest misconception that people have of you?
It's changed over the years, but a lot of people used to think I was cocky. I mean, some people might still think that. But I don't think that. I think that I am a representation of everything I've been through and what I've overcame. And I'm proud of that. And I'm going to talk my shit. Because I came from literally nothing. And I'm just proud of what I've accomplished myself. And I'm not afraid to, like, be proud out loud. And I think so many times people just, like, misconstrue that, because I can be that person but still help you with what you want to do. I mean, like, we used to get on Clubhouse and live for hours and get no money. Like, it wasn't just like money funneling because of that. Yeah, maybe if I dropped a product or something, but I wasn't in there promoting my product. I was in there like, next question, please. Okay, you be quiet. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that people used to think I was cocky a lot. People think I'm rich. I have money, but like, people think I'm like, can just do anything. Like, oh, let me just get a private jet to Dubai tomorrow. Like, no, let me check my bank account and let me move some money around. I can only spend this amount of money a day. Come on now, like,
withdrawal
come
limits.
on, I'm trying to tell you. So I think, you know, that's a misconception. But, you know, more recently, I feel like I've been so open and transparent, like, with who I am on social and stuff.
It feels like that.
That, you know, it leaves little room for you to, like, make your own assumption of me.
Yeah, I appreciate that you've been more transparent. I think even as of lately, like, your willingness to talk about, like, your emotions and how you're feeling. Layer on the fact that you're a Black man. Layer on the fact that you're supposed to be this entrepreneur who allegedly got it all figured out, which is never a lie. Even corporations who make millions of dollars, billions of dollars, they invest a lot of time, effort, energy to make sure that they're staying ahead, but they're making mistakes. People 100%. Are getting fired every year, every 100%. Week, every month. And so, you know, you got to give yourself grace. But I really do appreciate that in this season, with all of the lessons that you've accumulated, which are really blessings, that you've 100%. Been very transparent and open about where you're at now. And shit ain't always sweet, but you're still having
like that.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because when you don't tell your story and don't tell your truth, there's somebody who's not able to fulfill their truth. Like, when I'm holding back what I went through, my lessons, there's somebody who is depending on me to tell my story so they can get past whatever they were getting through in life. And so me holding back actually holds them back. I don't even know that person. Like, when I got on live the other day and I started talking, it was like 40 people in there, which is like really low for me. And I'm like, it's only 40 people in here. I gave my all. When I posted that post I posted the other day that went viral, people are in my DM like, yo, I needed this. Like, this got me through. I cried when I seen it. I'm like, you cried? I seen this post? I just put words over an old video. You know what I'm saying? But there's a person that needs you to do what you have to do in order for them to reach their goals and accomplish whatever it is they need to accomplish. And when you look at it like that, it's a lot easier because you know you're helping somebody by sharing your story. Yeah.
And I think even just remembering, if one person's life has changed, then isn't that worth it?
Oh, it's so worth it.
If it's not, you really should evaluate.
Oh yeah, what you're doing.
Because
why are you doing it?
Exactly.
Like, when I have people all the time, and you know, it's so funny when I go back home to Greensboro, especially, like, my friends' kids will come up to me like, oh my gosh, like, I saw you on 2K. I want to start a business. Aww. And I'm like, I'm talking to the kids. One of my friends came during homecoming. I'm like, what's your grades look like? And she's like, I got 4 A's and a B. So I was like, okay, 4 A's. All right, I'm going to give you $45. I'm going to give you $10 for every A and $5 for the B. I said, next time you come with all A's, I'll give you $100. And the dad, who was my age, is like, I appreciate that. Like, because we've been trying to push education. That's what I want to do with Support Black Colleges. Like, I want to be able to say, yo, here's some bread out of my pocket. Keep doing what you're doing. Whatever it is you want to do in life is possible. Like, this is what happens when you do what you're supposed to do and not ask or expect for anything. And so those are the kind of things that like are really fulfilling to me. Yeah. Like I said, I don't care about the money and all that flashy stuff. Like, I never even really, like, most people don't know I have a new car. Why? Because who cares? Like, nobody really cares anyways. You just become a target if anything. Really. So I just like to keep things low, grind, and kind of do my thing and let the world think what they want to think and just let my business and my actions speak for itself. Yeah. What are you hoping to accomplish in like the next year? You're like in this place of like restructuring, recentering. What would you like to see by the time we get to December? So I have some personal things and I have some business things. Okay. I think personally, just finding myself, refinding myself, re-loving myself. I think a lot of times when you deal with a lot of like breakup and loss, you think it's you. And sometimes it may be you. Sometimes it may not. You don't know. But just finding like what makes Corey happy. Why? What makes you want to get up every day outside of my why, but like just in general. Kind of like a reboot. Yeah, just a reboot. Like everybody needs it too. Like it comes at different places in life, but you know, I'm 31. I'm about to hit that midlife crisis in a little bit. So I'm like, look, I'm just trying to get myself together now. You know, figure out what makes me happy. And just continue to build my relationship with God. Refocus with my friends, you know, check on people a little more because I'd be kind of like ducked off. Just making sure I'm just staying tapped in. Yeah. From a business standpoint, I want to remove myself from everyday activities. I want to rehire a social media person. I've been doing that for a long time myself. You have. So it's like I want to just put operations systems in place to where little mistakes can be made. Yeah. But when doing that is a lot of lessons. So it's gonna be a little rough first, before, But once it's done, and I feel like I could fully market, because like we don't run ads. I don't post no content of clothes on our page. Like I'm like not even trying to make sales right now. I'm trying to like get the stuff done, but you can't shut it down because you still need the money. Yeah. So I wanted to be fully automated and just like at a place where you order today, 3 days you'll have your order. Yeah. Or at least they'll say shipped. You know, at least it'll be shipped. Yep. And I think we're about a month or two out from that, I think. Nice. But it's just a process. And it's hard, and it's been a grueling journey. 100%. Who are you looking up to for inspiration these days? Unfortunately, I don't have any one person. And I would like to know that person or, you know, follow that person or whatever. But I just get on TikTok and I see a lot of things that I like, things that make me laugh, things that inspire me, things that create ideas. So I use a lot of social media just random people. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm at a stage where I need a mentor that's like, I need a Damon John. You know what I'm saying? I need somebody specific to clothing. Like I got mentors in other spaces, credit, that's all cool. I know people who can do that. But I need somebody who's done it in the clothing space that I know has been through some stuff that can just like help me out. Yeah. That would be ideal. But I'm having a hard time finding those people because you gotta have made more than me and done more than me, and I've done a lot with very little. Yeah. So somebody like a Damon John. Time, yeah, I mean, we're talking about 3 years. Like 3 years ago, I was working at Tyler Perry Studios. That's crazy. So, you know, what this logo has done has been just wild. Yeah. And this is just the beginning. Like, there's so many things that I have not done. Right now, we got a partnership with Lids coming up. We just did a partnership with Mountain Dew like 2 weeks ago that nobody knows about. I didn't know about it. I just didn't talk about it, but we did it was an HBCU e-gaming tournament. They gave away $500,000. Wow. We made all the merch for that and did a partnership with Dew. So we're working to get our next round in Urban Outfitters and Jimmy Jazz. I'm working to get in Barnes & Nobles right now. Okay. So like there's so much stuff going on. Yeah. And I'm like a part of every single thing. Yeah. So it's just a lot. Hard. And I've just been trying to like lock in and just execute at the highest level possible so that these things can work itself out. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're rooting for you. I appreciate you being super vulnerable. Where can people like check you out and support you? Yeah. So my personal page is at Corey Arvinger. I'm sure it'll be here at Corey Arvinger. And then business is Support Black College. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I don't got nothing to promote. Yeah.
He's like, I'm just here.
I'm just here,
trying
man.
to make it till tomorrow.
That's it, man. Day at a time, one day at a time.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you for being so vulnerable and so open with
Of
us
course,
today.
of course.
And showing more of your introspective side.
Yes.
Because, you definitely can get on the mic and, bring good energy. But you're human at the end of the day, too.
Come on now.
And I think all those sides of entrepreneurship, if you're watching and you're an entrepreneur, you're listening, and whether you're established or you're just getting started, like, you gotta know that this is just gonna be a part of it, and it's still gonna be worth it, and you should move forward.
Always worth it, man. It's so worth it to be able to say, if I wanted to, I could pass it down to my kids, and they could pass it down to their kids, and we could sell it. We can sell it. Yeah, we can do whatever we want to do, but we have the options. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
No problem.